ever asked yourself who poses the greatest threat to an organization's cybersecurity? The answer might surprise you. In the digital world, we often picture threats to cybersecurity as shadowy figures in distant countries, tapping away at keyboards in darkened rooms. But what if I told you that the greatest threat is often much closer to home? That's right. The most significant danger can frequently come from within the organization itself, in the form of insider attacks. This might be a difficult pill to swallow, but think about it. Who has the most intimate knowledge of an organization's systems, its defenses, its vulnerabilities? Who knows the daily rhythms, the habits of users, and the typical patterns of network traffic better than someone who lives it day in and day out? The answer is no one, and that makes insiders a potential threat that can be more devastating than any external hacker. Now, let's bring this concept home with a real-life example. Cast your minds back to 2018, when an employee at Tesla decided to take matters into his own hands. This individual, disgruntled and disillusioned, used his intimate knowledge of the company's manufacturing operations to cause significant disruption. He made changes to the Tesla manufacturing operating system under false usernames and exported large amounts of highly sensitive Tesla data to unknown third parties. This is but one example of the kind of damage an insider can inflict. It's a sobering reminder that the people we work with, the ones we trust with our organization's most sensitive information, can sometimes be the very ones who turn against us. And when they do, the consequences can be catastrophic. Remember, not all insiders who pose a risk are malicious. Some might simply be careless, making mistakes that put the organization's security at risk. Others might be exploited by external hackers, their access used as a conduit to infiltrate the organization's systems. As these cases illustrate, the danger often lurks within the company's own walls. So the next time you think about cybersecurity, remember to look inside as well as out, because sometimes the greatest threats are the ones we least expect. So how does an insider attack unfold? Let's dive into the details. To understand the anatomy of an insider attack, it's helpful to look at real-life cases. One example is the Sage Group data breach in 2016. In this case, a disgruntled employee used their access privileges to steal sensitive customer information. Let that sink in. This wasn't an external hacker breaching the company's security measures. It was someone on the inside, someone the company trusted. Now, this isn't to say that all insider attacks are orchestrated by disgruntled employees. Careless users can also facilitate these attacks. For instance, an employee might accidentally leave their computer unlocked, allowing a malicious insider to access sensitive data. Or perhaps an employee might unknowingly download a phishing email, compromising their account and giving an attacker the keys to the kingdom. Let's also not forget about compromised accounts. Cybercriminals often target employees with access to sensitive information. They may use social engineering techniques to trick the employee into revealing their login credentials, or they might install malware on the employee's computer to capture this information surreptitiously. Once the account is compromised, the attacker can masquerade as the employee, accessing sensitive data or even carrying out transactions on their behalf. But what all these scenarios have in common is that they involve someone with legitimate access to the company's systems. This is what makes insider attacks so challenging to prevent. Traditional security measures like firewalls and antivirus software are designed to keep outsiders out, but they're less effective at dealing with threats from within. So how do we prevent insider attacks? Well, that's a topic for another scene. But for now, let's just say that it involves a combination of technical measures like access controls and anomaly detection, and human measures like security awareness training and robust hiring practices. Understanding the how of insider attacks is a critical step towards preventing them. Now, you might be wondering, what's the big deal? It's just a few lost files, right? Well, let's consider the 2014 Sony Pictures hack. This wasn't just a minor hiccup, it was a full-blown crisis. The financial impact was staggering, with losses running into the millions. But the cost of such attacks goes beyond the financial. There's a reputational cost too. Sony Pictures' once stellar reputation took a severe hit. It's hard to put a price tag on trust, but once it's lost, it's incredibly hard to regain. Then there's the operational impact. The attack disrupted Sony's operations for weeks. The company had to rebuild its entire network from scratch. The productivity loss was immense. These are not mere inconveniences. They are serious, even existential threats to an organization's survival. Ignoring insider threats can have severe, even catastrophic consequences for organizations. So, how can organizations protect themselves against insider threats? Well, the answer lies in a multifaceted approach that involves a combination of technology, strategy, and people. First, let's talk about access control. Limiting who can access what is a fundamental step in protecting against insider threats. This can be achieved by implementing strict access controls, which involves assigning privileges to users based on their role in the organization. By doing so, you're essentially adopting a least privilege strategy, which ensures that employees can only access the information they need to perform their job. This reduces the risk of unauthorized access and data leakage. Next, we move on to an often overlooked aspect, maintaining an updated inventory of assets. This includes knowing what hardware, software, and data your organization possesses, as well as who has access to them. By having an accurate and updated asset inventory, you're not only able to track potential vulnerabilities, but also detect any unauthorized changes or access. Now, let's not forget the human factor. It's not enough to have advanced technology and well-thought-out strategies if your employees aren't aware of the potential risks and how to avoid them. This is where cybersecurity training comes into play. Regularly educating your employees about the latest threats and best practices to prevent them is crucial. They should be made aware of the signs of an insider threat and what to do if they suspect one. Furthermore, it's important to foster a positive and transparent work culture, where employees feel safe to report suspicious activities without fear of repercussions. Remember, your employees can be your first line of defense against insider threats. And finally, continuous monitoring and auditing of user activities can help detect any unusual behavior that could indicate an insider threat. This includes monitoring data transfers, login activities, and changes to permissions or settings. With the right measures in place, organizations can significantly reduce the risk of insider attacks. It's a continuous process that requires diligence and commitment, but the payoff is a more secure organization that's better equipped to face the ever-evolving landscape of cybersecurity threats. In today's connected world, the threat from within is more real than ever. Insider attacks, a silent yet potent menace, can potentially cause severe damage. Their anatomy is complex, often involving trusted individuals exploiting their access for malicious intent. We cannot afford complacency given the high stakes. Mitigation strategies such as regular audits, role-based access controls, and ongoing education are crucial. Remember, in the fight against cyber threats, we are often our own worst enemy. Stay vigilant, stay informed, and stay safe.